So to begin, let's start with, we're gonna lie down on our backs, but we're gonna kind of elevate the chest a little bit. So there's a couple ways you could do this. If you have a blanket or a towel, you could make a little roll by just rolling it up like this. And then you'll place that at the back of your mat so that there's room for your head to rest back behind you. And you could also do this with a pillow or anything else. And when you come down, sometimes it's nice to have something else for behind your head, like a block or another small pillow. And you'll just lay back with the shoulder blades resting on this blanket roll, and then you can place your head back on this other prop behind you. If you find that you want to get rid of that block behind your head, it will just be a bigger opening for the chest. So you can decide, just like in anything, you get to decide. You get to listen to your own body and choose. And let's do something with the legs that's releasing. And so you might choose to just bend your knees and put your feet on the floor, and that might feel nice to you. Or you could open up through the knees and let the feet come together, the soles of the feet together. And then your arms can just be resting wherever they want to rest. And people have different preferences for how they feel comfortable. So you play around and experiment and just let this first position be a position where you can just relax and let go a little bit. So you can let your eyes start to close or move towards close. And see if you can just melt over these props that are supporting you. Release the features of your face. And just let all the threads of energy in your body start to clarify, clear out. So you can start with the lines of energy that run through your face. So just soften the corners of your eyes and the temples. Let your cheekbones relax. And let your jaw soften. The corners of your mouth relax. Release your tongue. And soften the sides of your throat. And then just continue to release the threads in your body. So down your shoulders, into the chest. Release the energy in your arms and your hands. And all 10 fingers. And take a big breath into the center of the heart. And a big breath out to clear out the heart. And just continue down the belly and the back line of your body. See what energy you're holding on to and where you can release consciously. Release the threads of energy in your pelvis and the hips, all the way down the legs into the feet. All 10 toes, just let them relax. Take another few breaths here just to melt release, and relax. And you can use your breathing like a research project in your body. So just looking for areas of tension. Where are you holding? Where can you let go? How can you use the breath to make things a little easier? Let's get ready to release this posture. We're just gonna release the props from underneath us. So take your time to scoot off of your props. Maybe you're rolling or you're lifting. And we're gonna come right back down to the back. So just slide your props out of the way. And I'm going to put both of my blocks at the top of the mat for later on. So if you wanted to take a moment to do that, you could do that. And make your way right back down onto your back. So all the way down into a little Savasana. So just extend your legs, or if it feels better to keep your knees bent and put your feet on the floor, do that. You get to listen. This is your practice. And just notice what it feels like now on your back with your back flat against the floor. And just feel your breath in your body. Continue to release the threads of energy through your body so you clarify your system. Take a big breath into the center of the heart and a clearing breath out to release something. Now, if your legs are straight, bend them and bring your knees in towards your chest, but don't use your hands. So just lift the knees in towards the chest and take a moment to rock from side to side. Get a little movement on your back, maybe rolling the knees in circles, but we're not using the hands for today. We're just using the power of the belly and the knees moving around and the hips, the legs moving in the hip socket. And you can shift direction and circle in the other direction. Just get a little movement through the body. And now stop in the middle and take a breath in and move the knees away from you just a little bit. And with your exhale, bring the knees in towards your chest without using your hands. And we'll do that a few more times. So inhale, let the knees move away. And with your exhale, hug the knees in without using your hands. 3 more times on your own. Just move with your own breath. If you wanted to make this a little more challenging, you might float the toes towards the floor as you take your knees away from you. Keep your low back flat to the floor though as you do that. So your core is engaged, moving the knees away from you and towards you, maybe floating the toes towards the floor or even touching the floor with your tippy toes on your breath in. Last time as you bring the knees in, and then just clasp the hands around the knees and take a couple rolls in circles. So giving yourself that little massage on your back, this time using your hands on your knees. Go ahead and switch direction. Now stop in the middle and extend your legs up towards the sky and just rest your arms off to the side and feel the energy in your body releasing. The threads of your feet, of your legs, of your pelvis, let them relax. And feel how your low back is flat against the floor. So You're really finding that engagement through the core, low back flat. And spread your toes. Bring some energy into your toes. Spread them. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, hover the right leg above the floor in front of you. So you don't have to lower all the way. You might lower just a little bit down, or you could lower all the way a little bit closer to the floor. And then lift that leg up on your breath in. On your exhale, hover the left leg above the floor. Keep your low back flat. So you're only going as low as you can, keeping the low back to the floor. Inhale up to the center. And we'll just go back and forth a few more times. So lower on your exhale with the right leg. Lift on your inhale. On your exhale, hover the left leg above the floor. And inhale back to the center. One more time each side. Move with your own breath. Make it feel integrated and steady. The next time your legs meet up at the sky, legs straight, bend your knees and flex your feet now. Now bring your hands behind the back of your skull. Flatten your low back to the floor. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, hover your heels above the floor, but keep your low back flat. So you may not be able to get your heels all the way to the floor. That's okay. Lift the knees up on your breath in. And on your exhale, hover the heels above the floor. 3 more times like that. Follow your own breath. Stay integrated. Low back stays flat to the floor. The next time your knees come up, bring the knees in towards your chest. Let's take happy baby. Reach between your knees. Hold on to whatever you can hold on to and just relax. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. You're holding on to shins or calves or maybe big toes with your peace fingers, your index fingers and middle fingers. Or you might hold on to the outside edges of your feet. You choose. Let your breath clear out your body. Let's bring the knees together again. Extend your legs up towards the sky, straight. Hands behind the head, interlace the hands behind your skull. Take a breath in and a breath out. With your next inhale, curl the tailbone up a little bit so your toes lift up a little bit towards the sky. With your exhale, lift the head and the shoulders up. Hold here for a breath in. And with your exhale, bend your knees. Flex your feet. Take a breath in here. And with your exhale, hover the heels above the floor. Keep your low back flat. Inhale, lift the legs up towards the sky. Stretch through everything. And with your exhale, curl the head and the shoulders down and the tailbone releases. Let's do that again. Inhale, curl the tailbone up. Exhale, lift the head and the shoulders up. Bend your knees, flex your feet, take a breath in. With your exhale, hover the feet above the floor. Low back stays flat. Inhale, everything up, stretch through the toes. Exhale, curl the head and the shoulders and the tailbone down. One more time like that. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, lift the head and the shoulders up. Inhale, bend the knees, flex the feet. With your exhale, hover the feet above the floor. Low back stays flat. Inhale, everything up. Exhale, release down and relax. Happy baby. You find your version. Reach for the calves, the feet, the toes. Rock around. Maybe extend one leg straight and the other leg straight. Maybe both legs straight. Feel. See what you can release and relax. Bend the knees in towards the chest again. Extend the legs straight. And now take your hands underneath your hips with your palms facing down. So you're going to roll a little bit to the side, to each side, so you can snuggle the hands underneath the low back. This just gives you a little bit of stability. And we're going to lower the legs towards the floor out in front of you, but you don't have to go too far. The priority is keeping your low back to the floor. So take a breath in, and on your exhale, take your legs towards the front of the mat, lowering down as far as you can, keeping your low back to the floor. When you get to that place where you feel your low back want to lift up, hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then lift the legs back up towards the sky. So you don't have to go too far. Take a breath in here and lower down for 3, 2, 1. Keep the low back flat. Hold here for 3, 2, 1, and lift up for 3, 2, 1. We'll do that a few more times. Take a breath in. On your exhale, lower for 3, 2, 1. Big toe mounds together. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Lift up for 3, 2, 1. Last time, take a breath in. On your exhale, lower for 3, 2, 1. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift up for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Come into happy baby and release. Do something that feels good. Happy baby may be calling your name, or you may want to bring your feet to the floor. Take your arms maybe out to the side and find a windshield wiper movement, taking your knees from side to side. Just release. Let this practice nourish you. Even though we're going to do some challenging things today in the practice, we're going to take the time to pause in between the hard things so you get to gather your energy, gather your strength, and nourish yourself, because we can't always be go, go, go. We can't always be working. We can't always be pushing or striving. We have to take the rest when we need the rest. Let's rock on up into a seat. So you can rock to the center or roll to the side. Make your way on up, and we're going to come back to child's pose. So make your way around to all fours. Take your knees nice and wide, or knees together, whatever you prefer. Sit the hips back towards your heels and relax. Just feel what in your body needs to let go. Where can you give yourself some support? Maybe it's making a little tower with your fists to rest your forehead down on. Just release the threads in your body all the way down to your toes. Use your breath like a research project to dig in and see where you can let go. You can stay there, or you might come into puppy pose. So to come into puppy, you'll rock forward to all fours. Hips stay over the knees and walk your hands forward towards the front of the mat. And really let your head relax down. So this is a big stretch through the chest, through the shoulders. Your forehead may come to the floor. For some of you, your nose may come to the floor. For some of you, your chin may come to the floor, but make sure that your arms are strong and straight. Feel what you feel. Good. If you're in puppy or if you're in child's, make your way to all fours, hands and knees. Get strong through the hands, tuck your toes, take a breath in, press down through the hands, and then hover your knees 1 inch off the floor and hold here. Drizzle your gaze on the mat in front of you. Let your gaze be nice and soft and use your breath to get you through this challenging time. Let the breath be easy. Release the threads of the face, down the chest, into the arms. Hold. Feel your body quivering. Feel it working. Take another breath in. And with your exhale, lower your knees to the floor. Untuck your toes. Drop the belly, lift the chest, arch the back. Breathe in for cow. And on your exhale, press down and round the back into cat. 3 more times back and forth. Just feel your spine moving through cat, cow. Let the breath be the leader. Really following the breath and letting the breath clarify your system. Find a neutral spine. Tuck your toes. Strong arms. Hug your shins towards each other. Hug your forearms towards each other. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, hover the knees 1 inch off the floor. Hold. Feel what's hard. If this is too hard, bring your knees to the floor. You can do the same actions without lifting your knees off the floor. Let the breath carry you through what's challenging. Next breath out, slowly lower the knees to the floor at the same time. Untuck the toes, drop the belly, arch the back, breathe in. On your exhale, press down and round the back. 2 more times like that. Follow the breath. Find a neutral spine, tuck your toes, and then walk your hands back towards your knees. You're sitting back on your heels. So for some of you, this will be enough. You can stay here, just stretching the top of the feet. And I'm going to turn towards you. We're going to add some shoulder work if this goes okay for you, if it's okay for your knees. You can always stand on your knees. If you want, sit back on your heels and lift your torso up. Your toes are tucked underneath you. And if it's too much, you can always untuck the toes if it gets to be too much. Take your arms out to the side, breathe in, and then reach your arms up, breathe out. Reach up through the fingertips and then bend your right elbow and hold on to your right elbow with your left hand and just stretch. Your right fingers are reaching toward your opposite shoulder blade. Draw the ribs in. See if you can relax the face. Good. Release the arms out to the side. Take a breath in and then cross your right elbow under your left elbow. Maybe hold on to opposite shoulders, or you could find eagle arms wrapping up at the wrists. How are the big toes doing? How are all the toes doing? The arches of the feet. If it's too much, you can always release, but if it's okay, see if you can stick with it. Lift the chest up towards the elbows, fingertips up towards the sky. And then release the arms out to the side. Big breath in. And release the hands out in front of you. Release the toes and do something to release the tops of the feet. So you might give your toes a little tap on the floor. Some of you will want to lift the knees off the floor and stretch the tops of the feet, or even stretch the knees up off the floor so that you get a big stretch in the tops of the feet. It's almost like you're in down dog. And then let's release the knees back down if they're up. Let's go back into that toe pose. So walk the hands back. And again, we're kind of adding toe work, footwork, and to shoulder work. So lift your torso up, arms out to the side. Take a breath in. With your exhale, arms up towards the sky. Inhale, reach through the fingertips, and then bend your left elbow. Hold on to that left elbow with the right hand. And see if you can reach the fingertips towards the opposite shoulder blade. Soften the features of your face. Good. Release the arms out to the side, reach wide, and then cross your left elbow under your right elbow for those eagle arms. So either opposite shoulders, holding on, or go ahead and wind your arms up at the wrists. Lift your elbows up away from the floor, fingers away from your face. Lift the chest up. So it's like you're doing an upper back bend. Check in with the feet. Make sure you can tolerate this. If you need to release your toes, you can. And then unwind the arms, stretch them out, take a breath in, and release the hands back down, release the tops of the feet. And again, do something that feels good. Maybe it's just sitting back in child's pose. That might help you stretch the tops of the feet and release. Or you can do those little, ankle circles, or knocking the feet to the floor, or taking that stretch of the hips up towards the sky. Let's come to all fours and come down to your forearms. So bring your forearms to the floor, hold on to opposite elbows so you get your shoulder width distance apart, and then bring your hands together in a prayer position at the top of your mat. We're gonna step back into forearm plank. So you could just walk your knees back, and that will be your first stage. So you're trying to get your torso in a straight line, your hips kind of in line with your shoulders. Press the forearms down, press the wrists down. You could stay here, or you could tuck the toes under and lift the knees up. So you're in forearm plank. Hold here, drizzle your gaze on your thumbs or on your mat. Just take in what you see, use your breath to feel. Now, if your knees are lifted, we're gonna walk the feet into dolphin pose. So walk the feet in. Let's take the feet wide to the outside edges of the mat. So you're in this dolphin position. And if you had your knees down on the floor, you could come into this position. Sometimes it's a little easier than forearm plank, this position. Press the forearms down, bend the knees a little bit, and send the sitting bones up towards the sky and stretch. Think about pressing the chest towards the thighs. And then lower the knees to the floor and relax in child's pose. Sit your hips back towards your heels and let go. Rock forward to all fours, tuck your toes, lift your hips up into downward facing dog now and stretch. Feel this familiar pose. See if you can get into it a little bit. Bend the knees left and right. Let your head relax. Feel the shoulders moving. Release the threads in your body. Let's walk forward to Uttanasana, forward fold at the top of the mat. Take your feet nice and wide. Let your head relax. Maybe hold on to opposite elbows. Let your brain let go. With your next inhale, lengthen your spine, bring your palms to your shins. Flat back, exhale, fold forward over your legs. 2 more times like that. Lengthen as you breathe in. Breathe out as you fold. 1 more time. Your breath has this clearing and clarifying effect. Bend your knees a little bit. Roll up your spine. Take your time. When you get to the top, reach your arms to the sky. Breathe in. Exhale, hands together at the center of the heart. Release your arms to your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs, Uttanasana. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine, half lift. Breathe out and fold. Step your left leg back into a lunge and lower your back knee down to the ground. And then rise up into a low lunge. Arms up towards the sky, reach. And see if you can draw the front ribs in. So instead of finding a big back bend shape, instead draw the ribs in. Take a breath in here. And with your exhale, put your hands on the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Lift your back knee up and step it back. Downward facing dog. Now, look forward towards your hands. Let's bring the knees to the floor and bring your forearms back to the floor. So forearms down. Hold on to opposite elbows for a moment. And then bring your hands out in front of you. So instead of having your hands together in prayer, put your hands down on the floor in front of you. So palms down. For some of you, you won't like this, but you can just try it. You could instead interlace the fingers, but there's a reason why your hands are flat here. And there's, like anything, there's stages, so you feel. You could stay here, press down through the forearms, draw the ribs in and up. So you're drawing the front body towards the back body. You could stay here, or you could tuck the toes and go up to dolphin pose. So lifting the hips up, it's almost like, it's like down dog, just forearms on the floor. Let your head relax. Lift the shoulders up away from the floor. And now look forward, and you have an option here to see if you could straighten both of your arms. Maybe it's one at a time, maybe it's two at a time. So you're coming into downward facing dog, and then go back to dolphin if you can. One forearm down and the other forearm down. And then just do that a couple times. See if you can play with lifting both of your elbows and lowering them at the same time. Let's rest in child's pose. Knees to the floor. Sit back and relax. Let your shoulders maybe slump and round forward. Let your head relax. Reach forward again. Hands and knees. Rock it forward. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your head relax. With your inhale, lengthen your spine, palms to your shins. With your exhale, fold forward over your legs. Step your right leg back into a lunge. Nice long lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground and rise up into that low lunge. Ribs in. So it's almost like you're doing a cat pose, that rounded pose. Some of us, like me included, have a tendency to find an overarching in the back. So if you draw the ribs in, gives you a little more containment through the core. Great support for the low back. Reach up through the fingertips, breathe in. And with your exhale, put your hands on the floor. Take your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Lift the back knee. Step it back. Look forward towards your hands. You could stay here and hold, or lower the forearms to the floor into dolphin. Lift the forearms back up into downward facing dog. And then come forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Hold here, or you might lower the hips just a tiny bit, heart forward. It's kind of like towards an upward facing dog, but with the toes tucked. And then use the belly, go back to downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Now, we're going to come down to the left forearm and keep the right hand down on the floor. Pop up onto the right fingertips. And then maybe lift the right leg up towards the sky into down dog split. You might bend the knee and open up that hip. Left forearm is on the floor. Good. Re-straighten the right leg, square the hip, put the right hand on the floor and come back to downward facing dog. Both legs to the floor. Let's switch sides. Right forearm down, come onto the left fingertips. Lift the left leg up, bend that knee, roll the hip open. Straighten that leg, square the hip, replant the left hand, lift the right elbow, and come to downward facing dog. Let's walk forward into Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your head relax, clear, clarify. Use your breath. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine, half lift. Breathe out and fold. Rise up to stand. Use your breath to reach up. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Take a breath in, lift your chest. Exhale, release your arms to your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up, breathe in. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Uttanasana, forward fold. Lengthen your spine, breathe in. With your breath out, fold. Step your left leg back into a lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground and find that nice low lunge. So arms up towards the sky, ribs in, front body hugging towards your back body. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, put your hands on the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. So you could skip this whole thing and just stay in downward facing dog or come into child's. Or look forward, see if you can lower your forearms one at a time or two at a time. Lift the forearms back up into downward facing dog, one at a time or two at a time. Roll it forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. Hold here, or lower the hips a little bit. Think about length through the spine as you take the chest forward a little. And then come on back to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg to the sky, down dog split. Listen carefully, let's bring that right knee towards the left elbow. So hug it across your body, hover. And then send that right leg back into down dog split. Lower the right leg down to the floor and lower the left knee to the floor. We're coming into side plank on the left side. So plant the left hand down, keep the left knee down, roll onto the inside edge of the right foot and stretch the right arm to the sky. So you're in the side plank position, really pressing down through the bottom arm. Maybe take the top arm over the ear and stretch long through the body. Take a breath in and then bring that right hand down to the floor. Recenter your hips and lift your right leg up. So see if you can not make it a big back bend shape, but instead draw the ribs in and the right leg is lifted just as high as you can without letting the low back collapse. Take a breath in here and then draw the right knee in towards your chest. Hug it in. We're gonna sneak that right foot forward into a lunge. So step it forward, grab your blocks if you're using them, lift your back knee up, so tuck the toes, lift the back knee up. We're gonna step that back foot in a little bit and straighten both legs to come into pyramid pose. So if you'd like to adjust, I love the blocks on the highest height for this position. So find a position that feels good, wiggle around in your feet until you feel like your spine can lengthen fully. Take a breath in, press through the inside edges of both of your feet, and with your exhale, fold over your front leg. Lengthen your spine, breathe in, half lift, and with your exhale, just step forward into Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your head relax and breathe. Half lift, inhale, lengthen your spine, palms to your shins, and with your exhale, fold. Step your right leg back into a lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground. Rise up, press through the front heel, rise up. Front ribs hug in towards the back body. Breathe in. With your exhale, put your hands on the floor, go back to downward facing dog, hips to the sky. So again, you have choices. You could stay here, you could come to child's, or you could look forward, lower both forearms down to the floor at the same time. Lift both forearms up. Roll forward to plank on your inhale. On your exhale, drop the hips a little. Think about chest forward, long spine. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg to the sky, down dog split. And then cross your left knee towards your right elbow. You're taking a little twist. Reach it back, breathe in, down dog split. And then lower your left leg to the floor. Lower your right knee to the floor to get ready for that knee down side plank. Roll onto the inside edge of your left foot and extend your left arm up to the sky. Really reach, maybe reach across the top of the ear towards the front of the room with your top arm. And then release that left hand down to the floor. Recenter the hips, recenter the right knee. And then lift your left leg up. Be disciplined about this coming from the back of the hip. So the glutes are lifting up, the hamstrings are lifting up through the left leg. No compensation in the low back. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, hug the left knee in towards your chest. Round in. Hold here. And then step that left foot forward into a lunge. Hands on your blocks. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up. Step the back foot in into pyramid pose. Both legs straight. Take a breath in, lengthen through the crown of the head, and then fold forward over your front leg. Take a few breaths to release the threads in your system. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in, and step the back foot forward as you breathe out into a forward fold. Now, put the weight into your right foot, and you could keep your hands on the blocks for this and just extend the left leg back behind you, any amount. Feel the weight on your right foot, maybe put a little bend in your standing leg. And let's take the right hand behind the right calf. Just hold on here, you're balancing. Feel what you feel. Left hand can stay on the block or on the floor. And then just switch sides, right hand on the block, left foot on the floor, and press down into that left foot, float the right leg up. Where can you find the support in your body? Maybe left hand behind the back of the left calf. Feel the body getting a balance. And then release both feet to the floor. Relax your head down and take about 5 breaths to do whatever feels good. So this might mean that you wiggle the feet wide off of your mat into a wide-legged forward fold. And you hang out here and take a twist, or bend the knees from left to right, or take the hands behind your back and interlace them. See how you need to move to release the threads of your body and to clarify your system. When you come to the end of your 5 breaths, come back to the center into your forward fold. And let's roll up the spine. Nice and easy. Take your time. Roll it up. Reach the arms to the sky. Breathe in. And with your exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Take a breath in. Lift your chest. Exhale, release your arms to your sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs, Uttanasana. Lengthen your spine, breathe in, half lift. And breathe out and fold. Step your left leg back into a lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground and reach your arms up front. Find that connection of the front ribs in, front body hugging towards the back body. Take a breath in. With your exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Make your way back to downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Stay here or look forward. Lower your forearms one at a time or two at a time into dolphin. And then lift back up into downward facing dog. Come forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. And then lower the hips down, lift the chest forward and up on your exhale. Take a breath in here, get longer. And on your exhale, pull the hips up towards the sky, downward facing dog. Now lift the right leg to the sky, down dog split. Exhale, hug that right knee towards the left tricep. And maybe come onto the inside edge of your back foot. Extend the right leg out to the left side of your mat so you're on the outside edge of your right foot. And then put the weight into that right hand. Maybe extend the left arm up. This is falling triangle. And then put the left hand down. Gather yourself back into downward facing dog. Step that foot back. Now, inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky, bend the knee, open up the hip. You could stay here, or you could let the right foot fall behind you, find the floor, weight into the left hand, reach the right arm up towards the sky into wild thing. Take a breath in. With your exhale, gather your way back into downward facing dog. Hips to the sky. Right leg high, breathe in. Exhale, step that foot forward into a lunge. Hands on your blocks. Pyramid pose. Step the back foot in a little bit, straighten both legs. Take a breath in. On your exhale, fold forward. Lengthen your spine, breathe in. On your exhale, step the weight forward into your right foot, float the left leg up behind you. You can shimmy the blocks forward a little bit. And then fold forward over that front leg. Maybe take both hands behind your standing calf before your brain has time to stop you. See if you can feel the ankle dance. Left leg doesn't have to be lifted super high, just feel it. And then both hands on the blocks or the floor. Step the left foot into a forward fold. Let your head relax. Feel what you feel. On your inhale, lengthen your spine, half lift. On your exhale, fold forward. Step your right leg back, lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground and reach the arms up. Front body hugs towards your back body. As we move through this flow, you have choices. You can always return to some of the shapes that we did previously in the flow that had more support on the ground. So listen to your body. Take a breath in. On your exhale, hands to the floor. Go back to downward facing dog. You have choices, how you pace yourself, what challenge you take on. Either stay here or come to forearm plank. Lower the elbows to the floor. Lift the elbows up into downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Take a breath in. With your exhale, lower the hips a little. Extend the spine. Think about crown of the head forward as opposed to a back bend. And then take it up and back. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Breathe in. With your exhale, cross the knee across your body towards the right tricep. And then we're extending the left leg and putting the foot on the floor on the right side of the mat. Turn onto the inside edge of your back foot, weight into your left hand, and then reach the top arm to the sky. Fallen triangle. Return that right hand down to the floor. Gather your way back into downward facing dog. Lift the left leg up. Bend the knee, open up the hip. You could stay here, or again, Step the left foot behind you. Let the weight transfer into the right arm. And then open the chest. Left arm reaches for a wild thing. Gather it back into downward facing dog. Lift the left leg to the sky. Breathe in. With your exhale, step the foot forward into a lunge. Hands on your blocks. Step the back foot in for pyramid pose. Straighten both legs. Lengthen the spine. Breathe in. And on your exhale, fold forward. Now look forward a little bit. Move the weight into the left foot. Lift the right leg up behind you. Scoot the blocks forward. Slide the hands forward. And then again, see if you can hold on to the standing leg with both of your hands. If it's too much, you just back off. Be where you are. Feel the challenge. Let your breath relax you and get you through it. Release the hands to the blocks or the floor. Step that right foot down. Uttanasana, forward fold. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in, half lift. As you breathe out, fold. And step your way back to downward facing dog. Let's bring the knees to the floor. Child's pose. Sit back and relax. Roll up to sit on your knees. So we're going to do just a quick little visit into forearm stand. Not that I expect you to do this right now, and certainly if you've never done this pose before, this would not be the day to do it. But we're just going to have a little practice, and we've done a lot of the little pieces that make up this pose. And so I'm going to invite you to stay at any of these stages. And so we start with forearms on the floor. So bring your forearms down to the floor, back your knees up a little bit, hold on to opposite elbows. That gets your shoulder width distance apart. Bring your hands out in front of you, and you could have your hands flat, but I prefer for my shoulders to have my hands together in prayer, or you could interlace the fingers. So all of these options are there for you. There are other options as well, but these are a few. So this is the first stage here. And then there's often a tendency to slump through the low back here. So see if you can pull the front ribs up into the back body as you press the ribs down, or as you press the wrists down, the forearms down. You could stay here, you could back your knees up a little bit more, you could come into forearm plank, or you could tuck your toes and lift the hips up into dolphin. Take your feet wide to the outside edges of your mat. Bend the knees a little bit and send the sitting bones up towards the sky. Press down through the forearms. Pull the belly in, pull the front ribs in towards the back body. You could stay here, or you could bring the feet a little closer together, lift one leg up towards the sky, hold here. This is the stage we're going to today, just one leg up. Press through the forearms, draw the front ribs in, and then maybe switch sides, left leg up. Press down through the forearms, hold, breathe, and then relax, both feet down, walk your way back out, and rest, either in child's or in Vajrasana. Vajrasana, just sitting on your heels, resting your hands on your thighs. Either of these two options, just relax. And if you're in child's, rise up into a seat. I'm going to come into a cross-legged seat that you could stay sitting on your heels if you'd like. And just find a moment of quiet here, sitting with your hands resting. Let the spine lengthen up. Bring the hands next to your body on the sides of your mat, so reaching out. And then just tip your head to the right so that your right ear moves toward your right shoulder. Maybe walk the left fingertips away from your body a little to stretch through the neck. And then switch sides. Take your head over to the left. Walk the right fingertips away from you. Come back to the center. Take your right arm out in front of you and just take a little tricep stretch. So crossing the right arm in front. We did lots of work for these shoulders and upper arms today, so give them a little stretch and then switch sides. Good, and then let's come into our final resting posture. If you wanted to use blocks underneath you, you could certainly do that. Maybe even coming into a supported bridge to rest, or propping yourself up with those blocks underneath the back. Or if you're next to a wall, you could always take legs up the wall. I'm going to take supported bridge, but again, you can decide. Find a position that's really nourishing to you to rest in for a few minutes, several minutes. And you could always start with something like supported bridge, putting a block under the hips and just letting your body relax. And then migrating into a different posture. I'll give you a cue to do that in a minute or two. So just enjoy this settling in, this clearing out. And let the breath just be that nourishing force that's always here for you when things get hard. If you're in a position that you'd like to shift, go ahead and shift for the last minute of rest here. Let everything go and clarify. Now start to comb through your body with your breath like a research project. Use your breath to discover where you're holding, where there's tension, where you can relax and release the threads in your system. And then start to make your way into some movement, into some deeper breathing. And as you're ready, make your way up into a seat. And bring the hands together at the center of your heart and offer gratitude to this practice that helps us recenter, relax, release, and do the challenging things within our own capacity, and then start to expand what we can do in the world. Namaste.